Hello, my name is Elliot Robinson. I'm editorial assistant at Global Railway Review. I'm here today to bring you all a very special guest. His name is Marc Silverwood. He is the digital trains system manager for Northern and the project lead for the Intelligent Trains program. Marc, thank you for taking time with us today. I'm sure our readers greatly appreciate it.
No problem.
So let's get straight into it. As some of our readers will remember, back in mid-January, Northern previewed some exciting new technologies, including LiDAR, to a delegation of more than 60 rail professionals. So to start with, can you sort of give us a brief overview of that event?
Yeah, absolutely. So the event was to demonstrate in-service infrastructure monitoring. So we fitted a lovingly 40-year-old 150 train of Northern with infrastructure monitor equipment, so things like LiDAR, radar, thermal technology, to demonstrate what the in-service could actually look like in terms of monitoring. So the event was to run the train between Manchester and Bradford, get people on board from Network Rail and other industry parties within the railway, and just basically demonstrate how that technology could really come to life in today's modern world. We've all seen it out there in different uses, but bringing that all together in one in-service train to demonstrate the capabilities of what the future could look like for Northern and the railway as well.
One of the technologies showcased during the event was LiDAR. So can you tell us a little bit more about that technology and why you
Yeah,
wanted to use it?
absolutely. So LiDAR's a key feature of what we were demonstrating. And the use of LiDAR in the rail network allow us to just really map using that laser range finding technology. Originally, as we all like to say, founded by NASA many, many years ago when the moon landings were part of the big leap forward. And our leap forward now is obviously being able to map the rail network in fine detail. As the train passes through ravines and tunnels and bridges where it's more difficult for day-to-day reviews and people getting in there, we can actually map it almost millimeter accurate to see if there's any changes or impacts of rail use in and around them areas, so we can be more proactive in maintenance and things in future. So it allows that really fine detail look over and above what a normal CCTV camera might be able to provide.
What other technologies were previewed during the event?
So the technologies we previewed on screen on the event of the day were radar and thermal cameras, but we've also fitted things to monitor the G-shock sensors on the train. So we fitted them to the bogie. That allows us to pick up vibrations through the rail into the train. We fitted acoustic monitoring systems so we can actually listen to the railhead and listen to the environment around, but also the train as well. We fitted AI cameras to allow us to look at the railhead and surrounding areas around so we can start to learn from that. And then to focus in on the two key bits we demonstrated on top of LiDAR was the radar entity on there. So that allows us to look beyond visual eye in front of the train so we can start to look and map things like tunnels. So usually you pull into a tunnel, it does become very dark very quick. The radar would give us that visibility through things like that. And as we've all recently picked up just how much fog's around in the area as well. So it allows us to see through things like fog. And then the thermal cameras allow us to really deep dive into tunnels, for instance, where we demonstrated at the event as we were going through the tunnels between Manchester and Bradford, we're actually able to see cooler spots inside the tunnel, which highlighted water ingress that you would never actually see with a person walking around with a torch in much detail. So you'd have to do real in-depth views to actually find things like that would eventually be found by normal day-to-day stuff, but our trains would be able to just spot that very quickly and identify them back into the infrastructure provider, which is a real leap forward in terms of intelligence gathering.
Right. Okay, with all this in mind, what could all these new technologies mean for passengers in the future?
So I think this really brings the passenger at the heart of everything that we try to do in rail. Everybody expects to turn up for an on-time train that's safe, reliable, and clean. And we want to play our role in that with Network Rail. So we can use our trains that are there, obviously, to move our customers around. and let's capture the data so we can feed in to provide more intelligence into the rail infrastructure, but also give that all-seeing eye of things that could not yet be a problem, but might be a problem in 3 months, 6 months' time. So we can actually plan things better, hopefully prevent some of the firefighting that may have been seen in previous years, and just basically building on that partnership between the operator and the infrastructure provider as one railway. And that is the future where we see that, because ultimately that drives then that customer focused rail operations and efficiency forward, which everybody kinds of expects these days, that we do work absolutely together. And it's not to say that we don't work together now, but this just brings us even closer by using our trains that we run every day into that service provision of intelligence gathering.
For the last question, can you tell us more about the Intelligent Trains program and how these technologies relate to that?
Absolutely. So part of Northern's journey started back in 2016, which does seem like a lifetime ago, when our franchise was to digitalize the older fleet that we had and also introduce 101 CAF trains into the fleet. And Northern's vision at that time was we didn't want half the fleet having all great technologies like CCTV cameras and Wi-Fi, and the legacy fleet not having that. So Northern stepped up at that time to introduce digital train, as we called it, which then looked to fit digital backbones, Wi-Fi, CCTV, media screens. And when we hit that new baseline, which we're just coming up for completion, or actually fitting the fleet, so Northern's nearly got 350 digitalized trains now in the fleet, which comes to an end in a few weeks' time. And we wanted then to look at what's next with our partners in the north. So working with other train operating companies and Network Rail to see what the art of the possible actually was with these type of trains. So that led us into delivering the infrastructure monitoring train, which we ran, and that was the event that we showcased. And part of that was just to understand in industry and in rail what we could actually do with our fleet of trains. Now we've got the digital architecture and almost foundations there that we can build on to allow us then to progress forward and take the next leap in technology and keep basically pushing the boundaries of what is day-to-day technology away from rail by bringing that into rail and making it the norm that these trains do gather that level of intelligence on a day-to-day basis.
Great. Well, it's all very exciting to hear. Once again, thank you for taking the time with us today, Mark. It's been great to hear your project. And again, thank you to anybody watching. We really appreciate it.